This is Celestial Medicine, and I wanted to give you guys a little bit of feedback about my experience studying Holy Fire Reiki. Just if you are interested in Holy Fire, if you're already a Reiki student or Reiki master, but you've heard or seen these new offerings from teachers, Holy Fire Reiki, why are we doing Holy Fire Reiki? Like, what's wrong with regular Reiki? And I didn't have the answer to that question. I just knew I wanted to study with William Rand because I heard amazing things about the guy, and also, I mean, anyone who is, such a strong leader in Reiki and teaching, the International Center for Reiki Training is founded by William, and he is just a leader in the field and someone who has done so much and taught so much and actually was my teacher's teacher. I just really was like, I'm sure I would benefit from meeting him and taking a class, even though I don't really exactly understand what the Holy Fire energy is and why it needs to be here right now. I don't work for them, and I haven't started teaching yet. I'm still working with the new energy myself and integrating it into my life, so this is not a sales pitch. I have no horses in the race. I just looked for a video like this before I took the class and didn't find one, so here I am. First, I'll just tell you a little bit about what my experience was like meeting William Rand and working with him for the weekend. Really awesome. He's a really awesome guy, and not because he's trying to be awesome. Not an overpowering personality, very subtle in his humor, very quiet voice, very quiet. We were all kind of making fun of him by the end of the class because someone would just have diarrhea of the mouth after one of their experiences in meditation and look at him like, what? And he'd say, okay. Oh, okay. That's it. And just somehow that would be enough for the person. They'd be like, yeah, huh. And they would be off on their journey, and they would end up, I'm sure, figuring it out for themselves. But he never tried to solve or resolve or, prescribe or treat or just answer. Really, he did answer questions, but he did not act as any kind of guru or holier than thou know-it-all. And not that we didn't want more, because I definitely kind of wanted more from him at times. But I also know that was my ego, and that I was there to allow questions that I had, some of them to just be questions that were answered later on, or that the answers were from within, or that he didn't have the answer, and it wasn't necessarily his job to, give us all of these answers. And we were all on our journey, and he wasn't any better than any of us. Someone who works with energy longer is not necessarily like an answer man, right? That's not what it's for. It is definitely to set an example energetically for what you can be and do and have in your own life. But not everyone who does this is here to tell you how to live or how to see that problem or, what to do and how to feel and whatever. So anyway, that was cool though. I really respected that, and it made me, I was like, okay, he's the real deal, because this is truly the spirit of, I guess, like humility and oneness and allowing and peace, and just, it was so refreshing. And so when it came to the Holy Fire, when he was talking about it, he didn't sell it to us. He did mention that it was Christ consciousness. It is the vibration of the Holy Spirit, as mentioned many times in the Bible, but this is not to make anybody Christian. It's not like you use the Holy Fire and you're going to start like Bible thumping. And no, it's definitely energy, I feel, he did not say this, but this is what I gather, that it's here now because we need some more divine masculine energy. I think the divine feminine is, what is that bumper sticker? The goddess is alive and magic is afoot. I know that that's happening, and I know that that will continue to happen, and the movement is strong. And we could say that the divine masculine movement is strong, but as long as the religious structures are leading the way, the divine masculine is not where it needs to be, because the religious structures in and of themselves, it is that construct. It can't help but abuse power. It can't help but control. So it's something I do think is useful and necessary, especially when we do have so much conflict and so much misuse of power still prevalent right now. And, obviously our leaders are out the box. Crazy. We're not gonna go there. Don't go there, Celeste. So, holy fire, it is very substantial. I can see it. I think I've seen it. Before I took this class, I would see a flame. I would see a blue flame. It was different than when I would get a presence and an Archangel Michael presence that would come in flashes of blue. This was and is a flame. And it would just kind of hang out sometimes when I would do healings. And I also have noticed that I call on Jesus a lot in my healings these days, especially when there's something physical to heal, or when I feel like someone has just attachments that are heavy, or addictions, or things that I feel like are just, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to feel it. I don't want to know. I don't, like, when it's too much for me, I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel. And I'm not a Christian. I love me some Jesus, though. I definitely feel the presence of Jesus in my life, but I haven't, made a practice out of connecting with Jesus and a rule out of it. And this is not to say that you need to only call on Jesus, but there is something in here about releasing guides, releasing your other guides. There's a chapter. I have the Usui Holy Fire manual here, the master manual. And there was a little bit of an explanation from him about releasing your guides, your former guides that will not be necessary or useful and as powerful, and that you will now be more in alignment with guides that are from the third heaven. Now, Reiki breaks up they're not dimensions, they call them heavens, and there are multiple dimensions within the heavens. There's first heaven, second heaven, third heaven. I like to do away with a lot of this stuff, by the way, because it's like, ultimately, it's just concepts that are just something our mind needs, these constructs. So I just like to, think about it, meditate on it, get it, and then let it go. But just for the sake of telling you what it's all about, I will briefly and probably a little messily go into what that is. The third heaven beings do not have a dualistic nature. They do not have any sort of interest in the control of a human, and they are not going to entertain our will that is not aligned with divine will. They only are here, and they will only come to connect us to frequencies that are for our highest good and womankind's highest good. Peace, joy, love, the just highest expressions of our selves, of our God selves. They want to integrate us with Source. That is their purpose. Upgrade, to level us up. And at the same time, it's without any judgment, without any fear. And it's I want to say a divine service that they are under. Jesus would fall under that category. He's an ascended master. An angel would fall under that category. And, a person, I would not. Not because I don't try, but because I'm human and I'm here because I have certain things I need to work out. And I do have an ego, and sometimes I want that thing, even if it's not good for me, and I need to like work that out. Or I can only do so much as a healer for another person. I can only give so much of myself before it ends up, withdrawing from what I have for my supply. Whereas an ascended being who is operating from the third heaven does not run out, and has ability to be in many places at once. Also, they're multidimensional. I can only be here now. I'm multidimensional, but I cannot like do a video here and also like consciously do a healing, over there, and so there's a lot of differences. That would be possible for a second heaven, perhaps, like some of the gods and goddesses, fairy beings, move the camera. Any entities that you create, even if you create an entity with intention that is good and positive, it can absorb energies around it that can manifest negative things or things that are not for your highest good. So I'm just going to stop right there when it comes to the second heaven, third heaven thing. But one purpose of the holy fire energy is that it will, over time, this is what William said, over time it will gracefully dissolve away second heaven influences in your life spiritually. Like, so if you're working with any fairy beings or, elementals or even ghosts, or you have spirit guides. That's a big one, right? Spirit guides. I used to connect to Augustus Caesar, right? Because I needed to get my money right. And I needed to get, I wanted to be someone that when people saw me, they felt that they could depend on me and trust me, and that I could take on heavy responsibilities. And, so that was a spirit guide that I connected to for a long time. And I have a wonderful empowerment called the Augustus Empowerment. It was useful. It really was. But that would still be a second heaven energy. Because that is a spirit that I could call in to assist me. But what if my life plan and soul's purpose was not really to be focused on power or finances or how other people see me? Like, what if that was actually taking me off of my path? So what the holy fire does is, I believe, it is like Jesus's energy. If you ever worked with Jesus, you might find like, wow, I made my bed today. Never used to do that before. Or like, I like having a clean house and a neat space. And you just get discerning, you get clean. And I'm talking about physically clean, but you also consolidate. You don't spread yourself really thin. You start noticing what is extraneous in your life, people that are just kind of messy, that it's not even about judgment. It's just about like, you don't feel the need to connect. You just separate, but it's very graceful and very easy. And it's because you're being guided over there, not because you're like, oh no. It's completely peaceful, and there's so much compassion for your fellow man, but it also gives you the protection, spiritual protection, so that you don't actually need to go into negative situations in order to find out that they're not right for you. So I believe that the holy fire is very useful in that it really can help us focus and direct. To me, it encompasses the divine masculine in a way that we definitely need these days. I know I could use some. Using the energy. Now we'll go into what it was like. Hot. No, I had hot hands before with regular Reiki. Now my hands were on fire, like really hot. And at the same time, I didn't necessarily have this super floaty feeling like I do with Reiki, where I have to like pull in the energy, and my top blows off the top of my head. It didn't have any of those, and I didn't feel overwhelmed by what was energetically happening with my client or the person I was doing energy work with. I felt it. If I wanted to, I could ask and inquire what was going on, but it wasn't the normal thing for me. Is that when I'm doing the healing session on someone, if they have, a broken heart, like I have a broken heart until I clear it. I am such an empath, and I knew it, but I didn't have to feel it, which was great, really great, really freeing for me. And it gave me the feeling of, I can do more of this. I can do this for longer. I can go deeper, but it's not me doing it. I can think about shoes on eBay. Not that I get shoes on eBay, I don't. But I'm saying that's a possibility. The placements and ignitions are how the energy is, passed on as opposed to attunements. And that being said, you don't have to do, I'm not going to do it, but you don't have to do placements of your hands on a person to attune them to the energy. You don't have to touch them. You don't have to do it like one by one. I can just intend for the room to receive the holy fire, and the room does. It's awesome. It's great. It's very efficient. And it's not about you. I would not have to, if I were to attune you, go in and be like, take it. Not that is what we do as Reiki healer teachers, but still, we don't have to focus on each person. It is working without our needing to be involved, because it is that high of an energy. We ask, and the other person who is meant to receive, whether it's a healing or the attunement or placement or ignition, I'm actually still a little confused on those. I have to study. Forgive me. I have a 7-month-old. So I've only been able to get through half of this since class. But my point is that it is not about you. It's less about you than Usui Reiki is. Which at first, as a student, you're like, is this going to work? But it works. It's amazing. And William Rand's just sitting back, and a couple times I'm like, it's not doing anything. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't think this is going to work. But it did. I would be like, and I was experiencing, at one point, we were talking about spirit attachments and how this is very useful for removing any attachments. But I was like, I ain't got no attachments, right? That ain't me. That's just not how I roll. You know what I'm saying? But I might have some. I felt so many, and I felt them in my back where I had my epidural. When my daughter was being born, I felt a lot of stuff in my uterus and in my privates. I didn't think I had any trauma down there. I thought I was all healed up, but apparently not, because I felt some things clearing physically from me, birth trauma. And, a lot of stuff in my heart too. And I'm not someone who likes to think about spiritual attachments and entities that are siphoning our energy. It's not that I don't believe in it. I just don't like to put my energy there. But I could not ignore what I was feeling. And I also couldn't ignore some of the experiences that were happening to some of the other class members. Shout out to you-know-who. Because it was right in front of you. People that just sort of, were definitely not trying to be extra. Oh, did you notice my shirt, by the way? I've got something extra. It's my pajamas, but I thought it was kind of fitting because we're in Leo now. Extra. Anyway, one woman in particular, very sweet, low-key girl, who was not one of the people in class that needed to dominate, she got rocked. Watching something clear from her, and she was shaking and nauseous and moaning and I don't even want to go into it, but it was real shit. Starting to sound like Wendy Williams now. Anyway, So let's see, what else? Holy fire. Whew. Well, I mean, that's it for now. I do want to do another video in maybe a month or so after I've been working with this for a while and I've integrated the energies, because me and some of the other class members were all like, yeah, I feel that this is really strong. This is very, it's definitely working. It's definitely real. It's here. This is happening, but I feel strange. I'm not feeling like I have it all figured out. It's been a couple weeks and we're sending each other Reiki every day. So it can be the result of almost getting, healing overload that we're experiencing, these detox symptoms, as like being in a fog or kind of confused about my place in life. Or I believe that we are actually all going to experience such a massive upgrade that a lot of what we've created right now isn't going to fit with that. So this could simply be like something we're going to be like, gosh, maybe everything in my, healing room and office, I'm going to be like, nope, gotta go. No. All my tarot cards, no, I don't need that. Right now, I'm still going to use them, and I'm going to do my forecast for August right after this video. But who knows? After working with the Holy Fire for a while, maybe all of these things will just seem like extra that I do not need, and that I will go more directly to Source, and that my energy will be more grounded and focused and just more Christ-like. Possible? Possible? We shall see. So stay tuned. I'm sure there's a lot that I did not cover, and I'm going to be like, why didn't I say this? But I'm not doing any editing. Ain't nobody got time for that. So if you have something to add or share, feel free to comment below or email me, or, just give me your 2 cents. So that is this. We'll call this part 1, Holy Fire, my experience, or something like that. Okay? That's it. God bless y'all. Talk to you later.